Hi, welcome along to NUFC Matters. My name's Steve Wraith, and with me is Malcolm MacDonald. Hi, Malcolm.
Hello, Steve.
Let's talk about the Tottenham game first, Mal. A defeat down at London, but it was a close game. 1-0 defeat.
It was. And in the whole of last month and this month, Tottenham they won 4 games in all, and only by 1 goal. And I thought that Newcastle, they made life really awkward for Tottenham. I thought they did ever so well. And it's absolutely galling for everybody in the side and everybody who travelled down to Wembley to see the game, and all other Newcastle supporters who didn't make it down there, that it was lost by one stupid mistake. And it really was such an uncharacteristic mistake by Dubravka. And you could just see the deflation in the players. We've worked so hard for so long to get to that situation a few minutes from the end to get something out of it. And I thought they thoroughly deserved something out of it. There was Rondon's great header that unfortunately came back off the post. There was I think it was Shah who kicked it right off the line.
Cleared it off the line, yeah.
Yeah. And so there was great stuff being done by Newcastle. I know that Tottenham had the vast majority of possession, but the strength of Newcastle is that they keep pushing and pressing all the while on opposition in possession, and in the end it starts to work for Newcastle. But the one thing is, you can't make mistakes at this high level.
Yeah. The transfer window, Mal, let's talk about that. Almiron's come in. We've broken our transfer record, but we took a loan out, allegedly, from Barclays Bank.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Unless all Newcastle United's money has been spent on the House of Fraser.
Yeah.
Just a thought to throw in. But because I have to say that the Ashley empire has increased dramatically since he's had Newcastle United under his wing. Look at
Almiron, though. We spent 20 million, in excess of about 20 million on the guy. He's come from the MLS. Which isn't the same standard as the Premier League.
No, it isn't.
We haven't had the greatest of luck, it has to be said, with South Americans coming to the club.
Yeah.
But the guy, if you look at his clips on YouTube and the stuff that's been shown, he looks an attacking-minded
yes,
player.
Does.
He looks somebody who could probably make a difference.
Yes, I think he certainly could do from what I've seen in these clips, but you never know until they're actually there in the middle of a Premiership match, and we can all see what the individual is capable of doing. I have to say, though, I think over the past months, running into years, that Ashley has got a huge doubt about Rafa's ability to buy quality players. I'm fairly sure on this, and I think it's only now finally that Rafa is sort of getting his own way, and typically I think it's because that the situation is building now, coming up to the end of Rafa's contract, which ends in the summer, and so I think all of that is crucial. That Ashley said, "Oh, well, I'll spend a few million, and hopefully we can keep him," because I think that Ashley, he realises the massive value of having a manager like Rafa, and he knows the value of him. He just doubts him a bit in the transfer market. So I'm looking forward to seeing these players that he's brought in. That one of the ticks in the list of incoming transfers has been London.
Yeah,
I think there's been a few crosses, I have to say, over the past 2 or 3 years. Let's see if these new guys come in and can put a tick on against Rafa's name.
Sean Longstaff's come into the team, local lad. Great to hear him interviewed. Sounds as if he's grown match by match. Very confident on the ball. A lot to learn still, but at least the academy seems to have produced one good player in the last few years.
I think he's doing brilliantly. I really do, and I was delighted to see him score against Blackburn. You get that under your belt, and you've broken that duck, and your confidence rises, and we're seeing that. I've certainly seen that confidence rising and rising since he scored that goal against Blackburn. And I've got to be really frank on this. I think he's been put under a lot of pressure because I don't think that the quality of players around him in Newcastle's midfield are good enough for the Premiership. And so I think that he's not just a young lad come in to try and do well in the side. He's had to almost take control of the whole of the midfield. And I think he's done it brilliantly, the lad. I'm so pleased for him. I really am. And as you say, it's so lovely to see young local lads coming through and making a name for themselves. And so well done, Sean Longstaff.
You mentioned at the top of the programme about Dubravka. Obviously the error cost us the point in the game at the weekend. He didn't get much stick on social media. I know you're new to Twitter. You're going to start delving into that. But Perez seems to be getting a lot of stick off the fans at the minute. He seems to be annoying fans because he's not because of his work rate. Just he doesn't seem to be committed. He seems to bottle out the challenges, and as a former player yourself, you start bottling out the challenges, you're going to get hurt. But is his place probably under pressure, do you think, with the signing of Almiron and the fact that he can play across the midfield and can even play up front?
I think it is under pressure, under serious pressure. One of the things that I really hate to see is people going and just, once there's a slight touch on them, they propel themselves forward into the mud. And Perez has been doing that a huge amount recently. And I think that's out of desperation because he knows he's not quite getting up to scratch as he should be doing. That it's not quite happening for him, despite the fact that he scored a goal not so long back, quite recently. But he and Rondon should have been forming a partnership, and Perez hasn't done that, and Perez didn't know how to play with Joselu. And so I'm now starting to think that Perez is the one who finds it difficult to create a partnership. I was blaming Joselu for that because I would see Joselu go one way and Perez would go the other instead of them working together. John Tudor was absolutely great, and I used to love it because he could work so well with me, and it made us both a better partnership, better players. And I'm not seeing that kind of partnership happen between Perez and anybody else. So maybe the finger should be pointed at Perez on this. There are things that I like about Perez, but I'm starting to see an awful lot of negatives and minuses, and so I'm very questioning on him now. And yes, so the new signings, I think that Perez could well find himself getting blisters on his bum once more.
The Evening Chronicle reported last night that there might be news on the imminent or not imminent takeover. What's your views on that?
Won't happen. I don't think it's been on at all. I really don't. I think it is all hype coming out of Ashley's PR office. And Ashley is well aware that he's not a popular man here on Tyneside, and so he feeds stuff just to give hope to the people, and I think it's false hope. All of it is false hope. And to say that it was a loan that had to be organised to bring players in. I just don't believe that. I really don't. Newcastle United has created a huge amount of wealth for Ashley personally and for the whole group of companies that he's got. I think that it's one of the finest assets he could ever have dreamt of getting. And particularly in the Premier League, and that's vitally important, and I think that he's realising that now after 2 relegations, just how valuable the Premier League really is.
Just look at the relegation battle at the moment. We're still in it, as we know. We've got a lot of fixtures coming up in a short space of time in February. 2 key fixtures, of course, back to back at home, Huddersfield and Burnley. But looking at the relegation battle as a whole, Huddersfield and Fulham, do you think they're more or less out of it now?
Gone.
Yeah. So it's one place left.
So.
Place left.
Huddersfield have dreadfully suffered in the opposing penalty area. They just can't score goals. And you have to be able to stick the ball in the net on a regular basis if you're going to survive in the Premiership. And apart from getting the points, but it builds the confidence in the players all around the pitch.
Yeah.
Fulham, I have never seen such farcical football at times as what goes on in their own defensive penalty area. It's quite ludicrous, and I'm a Fulham supporter.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, and I think, oh no, my head keeps dropping, and I'm just shaking at some of the ridiculous things that have taken place, and I don't think they're going to be able to recover. They're too far gone in this list of mistakes that they've made. The third team, I have to say that a month back I was saying Cardiff are the worst Premier League side I've ever seen since the Premier League started. They're just starting to perform a little bit now. And not only perform, but by heavens, they have got a spirit about them.
Yeah.
And then this absolute tragedy takes place. And it's absolutely revolutionised everybody there down at Cardiff. And you can see them absolutely going for it like mad. And well done to them. And they are playing football. They're scoring goals now. So I think I'm going to just zip up on.
It's between Cardiff, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, and Burnley. I think.
Yeah, it is.
It's between one of those teams. Unfortunately, is going to go.
Yeah, Burnley is struggling this season after a couple of really good seasons.
Yeah,
very good. And Sean Dyche, I know him personally. I like him a lot. He's a lovely, lovely man.
Yeah.
But he takes no nonsense. And I think that there's been a lot of crosswords said in the dressing room up there at Turf Moor. Whether they're going to be able to really pull it around, I don't know. There are sides. Crystal Palace, I think that they can play, they can score, and so they're going to get themselves out of it. I'm pretty sure on that. Newcastle, the one real strength for them is have a look at the away goals in the league table.
Yeah,
that's their real true strength, and that Rafa, I think he's already said it so far this season that the goals against figure is actually worth
a point.
Yeah, and he's right.
Yeah, 100%. Takes us nicely into our next game, Wolverhampton Wanderers away. It's on Monday night, so everybody else will have played. Give us your prediction for that game, Mal.
I think Wolves are playing some fabulous stuff, I really do. And Newcastle United are going to have to be at their very best if they're going to get anything out of this game against Wolves. They've got to maintain Wolves in the first place, and they play some scintillating stuff and knocking it about in the way that they do. And they don't just knock it around for the sake of it, like Arsenal can often be guilty of. Wolves actually keep it moving forward, getting into the into the opposing penalty area. I think they're a joy to watch, I have to say.
Yeah.
I just hope that come Monday they're anything but a joy.
Prediction?
I think Newcastle can make it a tight old game. I'll go for one each.
I'm going for a 1-0 win to Newcastle. I think we might just nick it. That's all from NUFC Matters this week. From me and Malcolm, goodbye.